All right, John, in this video we're going to discuss pelvis motion. As you can see, I've got the MySwing Professional system on, 17 body sensors, full body, wireless. We've gone ahead and done our calibration. As you can see too, the avatar is mirroring the motion that I'm making. So John, with pelvis motion, there are what, 6 possible motions that the pelvis can make?
6 types of motion.
Okay, so let's hear it.
Turn.
So rotation.
Yep. We have side tilt.
So that's what? Hang on, I got to think about this. So it's this way.
There you go.
And this way.
Right.
I'm not a very good dancer.
Turn 90 degrees, face me, and show me forward and backward tilt. There it is.
Anterior, posterior tilt, right?
There we go. Very good.
Okay.
Okay. Those are your 3 kind of rotation ones, and then we have what I call the translation ones. We have pelvis sway toward the target and away from the target. We have pelvis thrust toward the ball and away from the ball. And we have pelvis lift. You ever see a move like that coming into the downswing?
Sure.
Early downswing and through impact?
Early extender going that way, right?
Right. Rory McIlroy. Those are the 6 motions. And in my experience, it is so seldom that I get out of pelvis motion training. Most people have a quite serious dysfunction in the pelvis.
So you're talking when you're doing a 3D evaluation.
Correct.
You usually pinpoint the pelvis, find an issue or 2 or 3.
Always, unless I might see something different.
Sure.
But I'm looking always at pelvis first. It's usually the thing that starts to cure other elements of the swing.
Well, and it's the whole concept of working from the inside out, right? Pinpoint what the core is doing, what the body's doing, and normally if you can get the pivot working correctly, it'll help take care of some issues in the arms and the hands and the
you never affect just one variable, do you? Right. When you improve one variable, you absolutely will affect other variables.
So pelvis rotation, how does it affect the golf swing, positions, all that stuff?
Well, if you think about it, I would say that the world of, I'm 50, I know I only look 25, but they don't turn. And they may even have been taught to try to create some X factor on the backswing. Well, how am I doing? I got a lot of stress right there in my lower back,
right.
but I have a non-functional golf swing.
Yep.
So when you introduce more pelvis turn, go ahead, try to take a backswing. You know what, I wanted to do this. This would be really cool. Could I have a pelvis line and a torso line? This is really the fascinating stuff of how this works. Okay, so do not turn your hips at all. Turn the shoulders back as far as you can. Okay, so there we go. We got 48 degrees of turn, 46.
Ouch.
Yep. Now go ahead and don't try to turn more. Just maybe let your right hip go up and around back behind you more. What happened there? We just created more turn, right? So your hip turn is going to restrict your body turn completely, unless you're one of those, little kids that can do that. But
sure, hyper flexible, hyper mobile.
Yeah, we don't have that. So knowing that, by being able to measure, oh my goodness, well you have no power. I just had this lesson this weekend. You have no power, but you're turning your torso back about 40 degrees.
Sure.
You're dead.
Sure.
We simply increased the pelvis turn, and the guy left happy as could be. Easiest lesson ever.
Injury-free.
And a whole lot less pain. That's exactly right. So that's the turn. It affects power. It affects club delivery. For instance, there's a lot of folks in the world, take it back there on the backswing for me again, turn that hip back. Now there's a lot of folks who for one reason or another have a tremendous amount of forward slide or sway of the pelvis, and now all of a sudden I'm in the way. This club, I've just kind of locked myself out, and this club's going to deliver way from the inside. I may hit down on it excessively. I may start trying to tilt backward to launch the ball up in the air.
Sure, all kinds of issues.
Way too far in front of it.
Right.
This pelvis motion is doing all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
Have you ever seen a slicer go ahead, sway back to the right, away from the target, negative sway? Now, I want you to do now, stay back there and turn around That's what slicer doesn't look like that.
Ever seen that move on a regular driving range,
All the
on a
time.
municipal driving range?
So if you take that slicer, for instance, and go, hey, you know what? Turn the hips more. Now add some pelvis sway. I have seen that completely reorient the path of the club in one swing.
Sure. And you're not putting your hands on them and forcing them into this position. You're just explaining what the movement is.
You're not going to like that answer because I am not a hands-on teacher. Like the way that I do hands-on, I'm never going to take your muscles and use my muscles and my brain to move them.
Sure.
And I'm doing all the work.
Sure.
So one of my theories is whoever does the work does the learning. Sure. I'm going to go like this. Okay, listen. Go ahead and turn that thing back, even letting that right leg straight. Now, find my hand with your left hip. That, now you're doing all the work.
Sure.
It's very, very simple difference. But if I put my hands on you, go, okay, we're going to get this going like this. The muscles aren't even firing that have to fire to create the motion.
Yep.
So I'm not a fan of hands-on.
Sure. It's a much quicker way for students to learn if they're feeling what you're trying to get them to feel without you pushing them. Because the minute you push me, I felt pressure in other areas where when you put your hand here, I'm getting into a position on my own, and I'm learning much quicker.
Right.
Again, it's all about the player learning as quickly as possible, right?
Right. It's all about learner-centered coaching, not teacher-directed force.
Right.
You know?
Sure. So we talked about pretty much all the motions, pelvis rotation. Let's get into tilt. How about pelvis tilt?
Okay, so in tilt, if you think about this, when we look at the pelvis, once the golfer bows forward, he just reoriented his pelvis. So it's facing down to the ground a little bit more.
Sure.
Do you agree with that?
Yep.
That's why there should be a pelvis tilt during the backswing.
Okay. So let's take the body segments off and let's look just at the pelvis. So what you're talking about, John, here is, and then take the pelvis tilt off. So obviously we're not addressing a golf ball like this.
Right.
We're addressing a golf ball, and notice how much forward tilt, right, my pelvis had. So now in the backswing, what do we want to see with the pelvis?
You better see the left side of the pelvis going downward. So there it goes. Now if we go ahead and have that line on there again, you'll see it. And it shouldn't go down a ton, but it certainly shouldn't stay level. That's the turn one. Show me that side tilt one. There we go. There it is.
So you're saying we don't want to see that. Look what it did to my primary tilt. I just stood up, right? Okay, what about at impact?
Now at impact, it should go back up. And if it doesn't, it could be indicative of a handful of things.
Sure.
One, hanging back on the back foot would be the best way to get that pelvis not to lift, which I don't recommend that. So we should see that pelvis go as it's turning the exact opposite way. If it doesn't, we have a situation. Something's not working correctly. The lower body isn't functioning the way it was intended to function, and we're going to suffer
Sure.